You are watching a master at work.
F25 News has listened to a neighbor's 911 call describing the horrifying moments she had just witnessed in front of her.
Suji Nam joining us now live with more from that call. Suji?
Tiffany, Felicia, it's understandably a very emotional 911 call. We have a clip of that. Take a listen.
I just happened to look out my bedroom window and saw her. She was walking her little dog, and the gator grabbed the dog
and took her.
Fell down.
Okay.
And took her.
FWC says that on Monday, Serge was walking her small dog along a retention pond near the 14,000 block of Aguila Avenue. Officials say the approximately 10-foot gator came out of the water for the dog. Serge was then knocked over before the gator pulled her into the deeper water by her foot. Investigators say the gator has been euthanized. Serge's dog, however, has survived. Now, we do have the full 911 call as well as all of our coverage on this very tragic story on our website at WPBF.com. We do want to warn you, however, that the audio may be disturbing to some viewers. Reporting live, I'm Suji Nam for WPBF 20.
Goodbye.
Popular chant heard at Gator games is being discontinued by the university in the interest of cutting ties to its racist origins.
News4JAX sports anchor Cole Pepper is joining us. Cole, this move receiving some mixed reaction from Gator fans.
And not just from fans. It's a chant that has reverberated around the swamp for at least a quarter century, but the Gator bait chant will no longer be endorsed by the University of Florida because of its origins. University President Ken Fuchs released a detailed statement today about how the school is addressing racist issues. Among the list of 15 action points, training on racism, inclusion, and bias for all new students, faculty, and staff. A day of community service and learning as guided by local leaders to be held in the spring. And discontinuing the use of the Gator bait cheer. Fuchs wrote, quote, while I know of no evidence of racism associated with our Gator bait cheer at UF sporting events, there is horrific historic racism imagery associated with the phrase. The phrase's racist history dates back to a practice of using black babies to lure alligators from the swamps as recently as the 1920s. The chant was popularized after Florida won the 1996 national championship when Lawrence Wright fired up the crowd at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium with this.
If you ain't a gator, you must be gator bait.
Wright is not happy about the decision, telling the Gainesville Sun, quote, I'm not going for it. It created something for us. It's a college football thing. It's not a racist thing. It's about us, the Gator Nation. And I'm black. What about our history as the Gator Nation? We took a program from the top 5 to number 1 in the country. I think I've done enough, put in the sweat and tears to get to offer my opinion about something like this. Steve Spurrier, who coached that 1996 national championship team, is supporting the move, telling USA Today that when athletic director Scott Strickland told him about the history, Spurrier said, let's get rid of it. There is also a magazine and website dedicated to covering the Gators called Gator Bait, which was founded in 1980. While it's unaffiliated with the university, we've reached out to see if the website is considering changing the name, but we've not heard back as of yet. In addition to banning the Gator Bait chant, the president also posted that he's personally committed to removing any monuments or namings that UF can control that celebrate the Confederacy or its leaders.
Begin with Suji Nam in Fort Pierce, where that deadly attack happened. She has reaction tonight from the victims' friends and neighbors.
I talked to some of Gloria Serge's friends who tell me they're so devastated they cannot believe she is actually gone.
When I found out that it was one of my neighbors, I was just devastated.
I just couldn't believe it.
Robin Hyrick lives a few houses down from 85-year-old Gloria Surge. She remembers seeing her walking in the neighborhood.
Once in a while, just walking, and it's just nice, and we're, acquainted, just to see her, to say hello, how are you? And, she's just a very lovely lady, very, very nice.
FWC officials say that Surge was walking her small dog along a retention pond near the 14,000 block of Aguila Avenue Monday, when a 10-foot gator pulled her into the water after it tried to take her dog.
I heard the sirens, and once I heard the sirens, I thought, oh my goodness, what's going on? And then when I came out, I saw the cop cars, and then I saw the fire truck.
Neighbors say they are shocked that something like this happened in their community.
Very sad, and it was kind of overwhelming. I mean, knowing that somebody actually was dragged into the lake and killed.
Investigators say that the gator that attacked Surge has been killed. Surge's dog has survived the incident. Many residents tell us that gators are common in the neighborhood and hope more safety resources can be in place.
We had a whole mess of small ones here not too long ago that were in the canals, and hatchlings, young ones, and I've never seen one on the road. Some people have.
FWC officials remind everyone that if you do see an alligator in your community, you can reach out to the statewide nuisance alligator program. In Fort Pierce, I'm Susan Ott for WPBF 25 News.
In Fort Pierce, where authorities have identified the woman who was killed yesterday here in Fort Pierce, the 85-year-old, the victim of an alligator attack.
Middle bedroom window is open. Wanted some nice fresh air.
Around noon yesterday, that window opening allowed Carol Thomas to hear something outside.
Try to remember what I heard. I just heard, maybe I heard help. Maybe that, I don't recall.
Coming out, she was stunned by what she saw. Her neighbor, 85-year-old Gloria Surge, was caught and in trouble.
By a gator that had come up out of the water and had her leg.
Quickly calling 911, she then turned her attention back to the water and didn't see her neighbor.
And then I saw her surface about 5 feet out there. And she came up and she brushed her hair back and was trying to get air. And I asked her to swim toward the boat, to get either at her or give her something. And she said, I can't, the alligator has me.
She ran to get a shepherd's hook and moved closer to the embankment.
Have her grab it, or maybe if she couldn't grab it, I could at least hook her or something, or hit the alligator if it surfaced. But when I got back, she wasn't anywhere.
Thomas says Surge was a wonderful neighbor, always out walking her dog.
Very nice lady, lots of friends in here. Thank you, I'm fine. I'm good.
Now neighbors are calling Thomas and stopping by to check on her, which she appreciates. This tragedy has also reinforced her belief in keeping her 2 cats clear of the water and any gators. Florida Fish and Wildlife wants you to know that if you need to get an alligator removed from your neighborhood and it's at least 4 feet long, you can call them toll-free at 1-800-FWC-GATOR, G-A-T-O-R. In Fort Pierce, John Shaneman, WPTV, News Channel 5.
A sugar cookie, man, this is crazy.
This video may be sensitive to some viewers. Many unfortunate events happened to black men and women during the slave trade era. One of them was the use of their children as bait to catch alligators. Alligator bait, also known as gator bait, was said to have been practiced in the swamps of Florida and Louisiana during the 1800s and 1900s. Back then, alligator hunting was a profitable business, and the bodies of the alligators were used to make shoes, belts, bags, and other related items. As the Face2Face Africa website reports, some white hunters lost their arms and, in worst cases, lost their lives as they rustled the swampy waters at night attempting to attract alligators to the surface. Pictures, trinkets, and postcards were also sold to commemorate this dark, evil practice. Jim Crow Museum of Racist Memorabilia is often cited as a source of documentation because it contains artifacts and some other pieces of evidence of this gory act. Indeed, there is sufficient documentation to show that during the slave trade era, black babies were used as alligator bait. To buttress further claims that such a horrendous incident ever happened, there are different newspaper articles that have given credence to the actual occurrence of such dreadful act. For instance, in 1908, the Washington Times newspaper confirmed the existence of the gator bait and a tidal bait alligators with pickaninnies, where 2 black children had been used as bait for alligators. At that time, the New York Zoological Gardens zookeeper had sent 2 children to an enclosure with about 25 crocodiles and alligators. People watched as the hungry reptiles chased the children. A major reason for the use of black kids was because the zookeeper believed that the alligators had Epicurean fondness for the black man. While the infants played in the shallow water, the expert rifleman would watch from a concealment nearby. Sometimes, the children were tied near shorelines of marshes and rivers. Different accounts have been given of how the black baby's alligator chase actually happened. For instance, the Miami New Times reports that sometimes, the hunters would take the babies who were mostly toddlers, while their mothers weren't watching or were working in the fields. Slaves that had babies were easily targeted. The children were used to lure alligators out of the swamp so that the hunters could kill the animals and use their skin for business. The reptiles had to be let out so that they could be seen. In some cases, it got so bad that after using the babies as baits, they would only be rescued after the alligators had surfaced and were visibly about to harm the kids. Some other stories have revealed that the mothers of the babies were paid about $2 for their children to be used to lure reptiles and that no baby was hurt in the process. However, it is unthinkable that a mother would freely leave her offspring for such gory exercise. The gator bait story has been denied several times, but there are different oral accounts, publications, and documentaries that reveal its actual practice. Even after the news was widely reported by the American press, the Chipley Chamber of Commerce once denied the story and said that it was a silly lie, false and absurd. Sadly, the callous abuse of these children was characterized in postcards and figurines. Many of these humorous postcards existed during the slave trade era. A candy manufacturer once created a distasteful advertisement that featured a hungry-looking alligator advancing towards a baby. There were also popular songs and rhymes about using babies as alligator bait. For instance, Mammy's Little Alligator Bait 1899 by Henry Wise and Sidney Perrin was one of such. The cover act shows a black American father throwing a rock at an alligator coming towards his children, while the wife runs to protect the children. Dark histories such as this, which revolve around the alligator bait, are quite disheartening, especially since there is hardly any news of the zookeepers being punished for their evil acts. The silence of the authorities, when it happened, is even more baffling. The presumption that the various jokes, memorabilia, and advertisements were fictitious or untrue is baseless. However, the artifacts that exist will forever tell a story of what truly happened.
New details and new video of that deadly alligator attack that killed a woman at a Florida retirement community earlier this week. We want to warn you, this video is tough to watch. It was obtained exclusively by Inside Edition, and it shows the moments before the deadly encounter. 85-year-old Gloria Surge was walking her dog along a pond near Fort Pierce when the alligator approaches. The reptile setting its sights on the dog, and then it lunges out of the water. Surge was able to pull her dog out of the way, but then the alligator grabbed her, pulling her into the pond. Residents saw those tragic events unfold, and now we're hearing their frantic calls for help.
911, there's a woman in the lake. The alligator's got her. The alligator has a woman.
Frantic 911 calls as an elderly woman is attacked by an alligator in St. Lucie County.
Okay, how big is it? It's a huge gator. It's huge. I don't have anything to get to her.
Gloria Surge died after a 10-foot-long alligator pulled her into a pond at a retirement community Monday. The caller trying to help Surge as she's being attacked, but to no avail.
It's too late. Oh, my God.
Did you pull her under?
Yes.
all right. You don't see any of her body, nothing sticking out?
Nothing. She's gone.
The caller says the 85-year-old was with her dog Trooper when the alligator attacked. Serge tried to fight off the gator but was pulled into the pond.
She was walking her little dog, and the gator grabbed the dog
and took her.
Fell down.
Okay.
And took her.
Okay.
I said, swim to the bank, but she said, I can't, the alligator's got me. And so...
She stated the alligator had a hold of her and she could not get out of the water?
Yes. Yes.
Trooper survived.
Come on, honey. I got to get her dog so he doesn't get hurt.
Okay, so the dog...
Let me let him in.
The dog is...
Okay. He's all wet. I'm going to put him on his little porch.
Okay.
Come, honey, calm down. He's so frightened.
The caller spotting the 85-year-old's body in the water before officers arrived.
Oh, I see her.
Okay, I'm
floating.
She's floating?
I see her. She's floating.
Okay.
I think she's gone. Oh, my God.
Trappers ultimately found and caught the alligator, which weighed between 600 to 700 pounds. Now, a community and family left to mourn.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
He said, but what they were doing was tie them up, put a rope around their neck and around their torso, around here, and tie it tight. He said, the baby, I said, well, what would the babies be doing? He said, well, my grandfather said they'd be screaming. He said, what would you do? He said, just let them scream. He said, what they would do, it would help them to chum the water. He said, when they would throw the babies in tied to this rope, he said, in a matter of minutes, he said, the alligators were on them. He said the alligators would clamp his jaws on that child. As a matter of fact, once he clamped on him, he was really swallowed. You couldn't see anything but the rope. And we would pull the alligator in and tie his nose and hit him in the head with an axe, a pickaxe. He said we would then drag him to the shore. We'd drag him to the shore and leave him lay, and we would do it again, maybe 2 or 3 times a night. I said, so what do you mean? He said, well, yeah, they were taking these babies and killing them for alligator bait. I said, so all these things I've been collecting, are really, really something that I can really talk about and say they're of a truth by what you say? He said, I'm telling you, he said, nobody wants to talk about it. He said, I'm only telling you because you're here. I may never hear from you again. He said, but these things actually depict the acts that they did to slave babies back in the Bayou country and down the South. They did this. They hunted alligators with these babies. That's why they call alligator bait.
Damn shame what they did.
Horrifying video of an alligator moving in for the kill. He's about to attack an unsuspecting 85-year-old grandmother walking her dog by a lake. The horrifying drama at a retirement community in Fort Pierce, Florida, was caught on a wildlife camera.
Oh, my God. The alligator's got her.
The victim's frantic neighbor can be heard on this just-released 911 call.
An alligator has a woman. How big is it? It's a huge gator. It's huge. I don't have anything to get to her.
The call was made by 76-year-old Carol Thomas, who was watching from her lakefront home as Gloria Serge was attacked while walking her beloved dog, Trooper.
She was walking her little dog, and the gator grabbed the dog
and took her.
Fell down.
Is she alive?
Yes, she's alive. He's pulled her in. He's pulled her in the lake.
She fetched this pole to try to pull the stricken woman to shore.
It's too late. It's too late. Oh, my God.
Did you pull her under?
Yes. Oh, no. I was trying to stick a pole out for her, and I was calling you at the same time, and she's gone.
Okay.
She's gone.
It's horrible for her family. It's horrible. Just horrible. And her friends. I mean, I talked to a couple of her friends yesterday. They were devastated.
Do you wish you had gotten to her sooner?
There's no way I could have gotten to her sooner.
The 11-foot-long gator was a neighborhood fixture. He even had a name, Henry. He was captured by trappers and euthanized. Authorities are warning pet owners not to walk their dogs near Florida's alligator-infested lakes and waterways.
I don't know why people walk their little bitty dogs near the lake.